At the time of this recording, it is July 25th, 2023, and the Baltimore Orioles are 2.5 games ahead of the Rays for first place in the AL East Division. They have the best bullpen ERA in the league, and they have a stud catcher and a stud third baseman. To really understand how this went down, you'd have to go back to 2016. That is where they were last in the playoffs, and that's the last time they would even have a chance of winning anything in life. They would play the Toronto Blue Jays in the wild card game, and they'd keep them close for 10 innings until they brought on the man himself, Ubaldo Jimenez, which if you're an Orioles fan, you know exactly who Ubaldo Jimenez is. And yeah, in the 10th and the 11th inning, this happened.
And the Orioles bring their infield all the way in, even though they've turned a lot of double plays.
Oh, there's a drive to deep left field, and the ball game is over.
Little did some people in that team know that would be the end of an era, as the Orioles would then be atrocious for the next 6 years, and they would have to start a rebuild, which at the time none of our Orioles fans knew. In 2017, they went 81-81, causing them to blow it all up in 2018. Yeah, they had some pieces, values, and picks. Machado walked in free agency. Jones went to the Diamondbacks, then retired shortly later. Chris Davis, as we all know, signed a huge contract and then stole our money for the next 5-7 years, something like that. They'd be atrocious for literally until the second half of 2022. We'll get to that later. But as you could see, they would be just terrible in 2018, 2019, and 2021, skipping the COVID year because that didn't really mean anything. And they had records like 47, 115, 54, and 108, and 52 and 110, with team ERAs like 5.18, 5.59, and 5.84. These stats would just make the team pitiful, and it wouldn't get better anytime soon. However, one thing about being really bad in any sport is you get draft picks, you get good ones, and that's what the Orioles did. They built their team solely on prospects. They took the Astros type of way. In 2018, they had the number one pick, who they would pick the future of the franchise, Adley Rutschman, catcher from Oregon State, who led their team to the College World Series win. And this kid would just change the team. I'll get into that later. That was absolutely amazing. Next few years, they drafted more studs like Colton Cowser, Gunnar Henderson, or maybe even Jordan Westbrook, who's really been coming up recently at really nice tempo. And they've all changed the team in good ways. So in 2022, they expected to be bad, really bad, just a really bad ball club. But clearly they were not. They were one of the best in the second half of the year after they called up Adley Rutschman, going 42-29, and in total, since they called up Adley Rutschman, they have went in total of 104-68, which is the best in MLB. So you think Adley Rutschman can't change everything? Well, he's kind of the heart for this team, and that's why this team has now better pitching, which the pitching was 5.18 in 2018, 5.59 in 2019, and 5.84 in 2021. All those seasons, we went 47-115, 54-108, and 52-110. So, Adley Rutschman came along. We picked up some players. I'm saying we because I'm an Orioles fan. And they really just completely changed the team in total. So this team has went from an ERA of around 5.84, 5 ERA to in the fours, the lower fours to be exact, which is pretty good in the MLB. It's pretty average. So that's pretty average just for the league par. They're 15th right now in 2023, and in 2022 they were 17th, I believe. Am I thinking of the stats correctly? And that brings me to the next point. The pitching has just been absolutely outstanding this year. We brought up more prospects: Gunnar Henderson, Grayson Rodriguez, who is getting better, Colton Cowser, who's been amazing, and Jordan Westbrook, who's been remarkable. And we still have some prospects down there: D.L. Hall, who maybe traded at the deadline, Kobe Mayo, maybe traded at the deadline. I still have a lot of players who could come up. But I want to get to this: the bullpen. The bullpen. We have the best two-headed monster in baseball. The Baltimore Orioles do. That is Yennier Cano, followed by Felix Bautista. The bullpen ERA is best in baseball at a 3.70, and Felix Bautista has a career high in saves, an MLB high in saves, and just absolutely remarkable stats as you can talk about it. Orioles here coming to the trade deadline as it is approaching. They have traded for Shintaro Fujinami, who has been getting his stuff together, getting everything worked out. But for this team, my vision for the pitching, as we kind of wrap up this pitching segment, is they need to get somebody like a Lucas Giolito, somebody who can be an ace for this team, because really we don't have an ace. It's Tyler Wells, Dean Kramer, Grayson Rodriguez, Kyle Bradish, and Kyle Gibson. So that's all it is for this team, and it would mean the world for my team and Baltimore Orioles fans to go back to another playoff run, as you can see how absolutely amazing that was back in 2014 with Delman Young and stuff like that. But that era is over. Manny's moved on, a great player, and we now have great players, and it's like they're 14 years old. That's how good they are. They're just so young and so great, and I feel like it was just all because of this guy, Adley Rutschman. So, back to Rutschman in a way. The Orioles, since calling Rutschman up, have gone 73 straight series without being swept. Can't clip those wings. Grayson Rodriguez, talked about him earlier. He's coming up. He's getting his stuff together. His stuff's nasty. Just gotta give him more time, more efforts. And Brendan Hyde, I really want to give props to him. He has really put this team in a good position, putting Grayson Rodriguez in starts against the Dodgers, the Rays, really good talent, preparing him for a postseason start, possibly. So this team is now 104-68 since calling up Rutschman. That's one. League leader in bullpen ERA, that's never happened. They have a average rotation, which hasn't happened in 6 years. And they have studs at every position, young studs, which with amazing role players, utility guys, Ryan O'Hearn, Anthony Santander, Cedric Mullins, Aaron Hicks, who we've kind of just transformed into a beast, and they still have the number one prospect in baseball, and that is Jackson Holliday. Jackson Holliday, as we all know, is going to possibly be really good, called up next year, late next year. He's a Bowie Baysock as of now. So, yeah, if you're an Orioles fan, get psyched, because this team is terrifying, and this is truly the real reason that the Orioles have just exploded, because they built their team like the Astros. They're better than the Astros were at this time of their rebuild. So who knows what this team's going to look like in their prime. And one last thing to touch on is this team. There's been a lot of rumors going around that this team could pick up Shohei Ohtani. And I don't think that should happen. I don't think it's possible. I think it's impossible. But for the Orioles, which anything's possible, and that's been their motto for the last few years. Clearly. I'm out. Peace.